Please welcome Bobby.
Don't you worry, child. See heaven's got a plan for you.
Vodka.
Don't you worry, now.
We're starting the day off right. All right. So how are we feeling? Bit hungover? Let's do this. Everybody loves doing this. So everybody stand up. It's one of those mornings. We just need to put your hands like this. And I'm serious now. Put your right hand here. Sit down, you morons. Come on. Wake up. You drunks. All right, let's see. How do I work this thing? Just hit play?
They like the joke.
Okay. The official title, How to Go on Holiday and Still Make Sales. Interested in doing that, some of you guys? I think the unofficial title might be something like How to Get Drunk and Still Make Sales, because I think that's more relevant today. Let's see. So this is me and my beautiful, beautiful girlfriend about 2 weeks ago. That's right. Cool photo, right? As if somebody just stood there and took it. We actually put a tripod on the back of a table. It's okay. It's okay. So, we were going on holiday. I'd been working really hard for a couple of months, where you just sit in your bat cave and just plow away. You don't see anyone. And we had this trip lined up because it was coming to Vegas. So the girlfriend was like, you need to take some time off. And I was like, really? I have a business to run. I can't take time off. And anyway, I thought about it for a couple of days. And then I was like, you know what? You're right. I should take a couple of days off because I hadn't for a really long time. And I ended up taking, so we went to New York. I took the first week off just to sort of see what it was like. Of course, I'd come home and check my email. And everything was kind of going okay, right? The way it should. And so I ended up taking another week off, just sightseeing every day. I'd come home, check my email, and everything was still working fine. So I think this might be my first really work session, if you can call it that, just hanging out with you guys. So the reason why I'm telling you about this whole New York story is these are two variables that are very important, right? I mean, for what we do, a lot of people in this room join SSM because we either have a passion maybe that we don't have enough time. Like I spoke to, was it Corey, actor guy? No, is he here? Maybe he's drunk somewhere. I think that's his name. So Corey's an actor, and he wants to spend a lot of time doing that. And so Freedom Business is his way of, not having to do, waiting tables, which is what most people do when they move to LA and try to become an actor. So a lot of people in this room are here for that reason. We want more time and more money. And I think, myself included, I think it's fair to say that everyone in this room would like more money, right? That's what we focus most on. Can you guys relate to that? Or do you guys spend a lot of time, trying to free up time? I don't think most people do. So I wanted to bold that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that because, again, tying it back to the girlfriend and this New York trip, on the last day, we found this really amazing area. Just you take the bridge from Manhattan over to, it's called Long Island City. It's 10 minutes from Manhattan. And it's brand new buildings. Everything's really nice. We're just walking there, having a beautiful sunny day. And I was like, it's the last day. She was going home. I was coming here. And she's like, I told her, I was like, you know what? Since we've been here, as I told you guys, I had barely done any work. We've gotten 4 new clients, and everything's been, Tim told you guys yesterday about, the slide with the subsystems, the making sales, the delivery, the customer service or support. All of those things were just rolling on their own. And she was like, oh, you work so hard. And I was just, you could laugh it up as much as you want because the honest truth is that's all by design. It's not an accident. And everybody in this room could build, your own business to the point where everything is automated like that. So that's what I wanted to cover today. And we're going to go over 2 things specifically that will really help you, I think, with that. And the thing is, I showed you the time plus money thing. If you free up time, that's also going to allow you to free up or make more money. So we're going to talk about that. The question I want to pose to you guys is, what's the problem with running your business in the beginning? And I'm not talking about like what problem does your business have, because we all fucking know it's not making enough money, right? So what problem do you have when you're starting your business? Does anybody have any sort of ideas or, yeah? I want
to do everything myself.
I'm just going to stop you there because you pretty much bang on. You have to do everything, right? Nobody's going to pick up the slack for you. Nobody's going to put their foot on the gas pedal. You can't go on holiday because everything will stop working. Nobody's going to pick up where you left off. And that's a problem, right? But it's also, there's nothing wrong with that in the sense that, what other way could you do it? In the first year, first 2 years maybe, that's sort of where everybody's at. So I wanted to see, if we wanted to graduate from that year 1, year 2, how would we do that? What specifically do we need to do? Just take a sip of my vodka. So what to do? Like I said, there are 2 things I want to get into specifics about that I think will really help you guys. And we usually, as marketers, we always have a call to action. It's just 1, but I got 2 for you. So the first thing, and the great thing about my speech today is all the things that I want to talk to you guys about has sort of been covered already. Tim did the overview thing. Chris talked about hiring yesterday. I'm going to give you a little bit on that. But make one great hire. Keyword is great, right? I'm not talking about a $3 an hour Filipino assistant. I'm talking about a $5 an hour Filipino assistant. No, and I'm not bashing on Filipinos, but the key here is that when you're paying people a low amount of money, and I'm sure you guys can relate to this, they can follow procedures, right? They can go after your working procedures. They can follow step-by-step instructions, but they can't really do thinking on their own, for your business, right? So the keyword here is great, and I'll get into it a little bit more later. And the second thing is to automate as much as possible. And I'm also, that doesn't mean you got to automate everything, but that's the second thing I want to talk to you about as well. Cool. Everybody still awake? Yeah, great. I'm actually surprised so many people showed up. Quite a few drunks based on the WhatsApp group. Make one great hire. So this is a very short story. So in September, some of you guys might remember, because I was releasing videos for SSM5 when I was there. I went on holiday for the first time. Fuck, it seems like all I do is go on holiday. It's not really true. But that was the first time I really tried to go on holiday since I started my business. It was my first time, graduating from year 1, year 2, where you're doing everything. Because I'd made one great hire, and I just wasn't aware of it yet. But I'd spent a lot of time hiring the right person. I had spent 25 to 30 bucks an hour on this person, which for me is fucking scary, right? Like, I was hiring $3 Filipino assistants before, and that's a big jump. So I was pretty scared to do that, first of all. But I went, again, with my girlfriend to Malta, and every day I'd come home and I'd check my email, and I'm sure you guys can relate to this, where let's say you got like 5 clients or whatever, and you just haven't been able to work all day for whatever reason, and you come home and it's time to open the inbox. And you're like, oh shit, here we go. There's gonna be so many problems. There's gonna be so many things I have to attend to. And I don't know if you guys feel that same way too, but I have this like panicky feeling, and I feel urgency to deliver to my clients that have paid me money. So I see a few nodding heads, which is good to hear, because I hope I'm not the only one who feels that way. But I'd come home every day, would go on adventures and stuff with my girlfriend, and we'd come home and I'd open the email, and then I would just realize that this great hire, up until that point, she had basically done very little work for me. And before I went on holiday, I told her, you know what? Try to just keep us above water, because I didn't really know that she could do all the things that she could do. I thought that running a fucking video business was like rocket science, like who can talk to clients and who can do that. And it turned out that she was really good at it. And the only way I found that out was I was forced into it, because I was busy going on holiday. So here's the idea that I want you guys to take with you in terms of, graduating from this thing. I'm talking about replacing yourself, and not yourself forever. I'm talking about that person who's running the business for year 1, year 2, or whatever. That person who does everything, the person who does all the day-to-day stuff, and then the person who runs, the person who works on the business. That's the person we want to become more of and have, more time as that person who can grow the business. Just need some more vodka. And I'll wake up. Little asterisk here as well. Essential tasks should still be done by you. And yeah, this is one of those things where I'm going to tell you guys this right now, and I know that 6 months from now, Joe is going to come to me and be like, Bobby, I know you told me to do that, and then I still fucked it up. It's one of those lessons that even though I tell you it, you just have to learn it yourself. So in my case, I tried to free up like all the time I could. So I gave all the responsibilities to Maria, including sending out invoices to our clients. Now, I know when I have to pay my bills. So to me, I have massive urgency to send out invoices, right? So we get paid. And she just didn't have that. And I just realized that like this is one of those tasks that you don't outsource. And I think it's just a theory, right? Like you just don't have to outsource everything. You probably should not. But the goal here is to free up time that can be invested in growing that company. And who here has heard the whole like, work on your business, not in your business? Is that something? Okay, so everybody's heard that, right? It sounds like one of these cool phrases that we hear all the time, and we kind of like, do I even know what that means or whatever? But I think, the person who's doing all the day-to-day stuff, that's the person working in the business, right? The person who works on the business, that's the person who can sit down and have a real think about how do we get to that next level? Because who can relate to the fact that it's very hard to be a person who works in the business and then jump over 5 minutes later and be the person who's working on the business? Can you guys relate to that? Where it's like, fuck, now I got to do the day-to-day stuff, and then I got to jump over to this side and become the visionary. It's very hard to do that, I find at least. So here, the point is to try to become that person a bit more who can spend time on trying to grow the business. Cool. Automate as much as possible. Actually, I just thought of something else that I wanted to bring up in the beginning. I didn't put it on my slides. When I was in New York, we were staying with a friend of mine. And this guy's a fucking boss, like in his own way. He's not like a freedom business owner guy. He's got a day job, but it's not your typical kind of day job. He works for the government. He works for it's called ICE. It's like the immigrations police in the US. So like if some of you fuckers, stay too long and you're, in the country and you're too big of a threat, like he'll fly you home. If ISIS is doing like a, trading somebody they captured with somebody that the US has captured, he'll fly over to like Iraq and like do the trade, like crazy stuff. Wakes up at 3 a.m., does raids, like breaks into people's houses and like shoots people. Full crazy. And so he's also a smart dude. Like he bought a building in Brooklyn a couple of years ago, and now he's like buying 2 more buildings in the Bronx. And I don't know if you guys have been to New York, but it's not very difficult to rent out a place in New York. So he's making like really good money. But he's got his day job, wakes up at 3, works like 12 hours, comes home, and sure, he gets paid from his apartments. But he just, this takes me back to the money and time thing. We were sitting down talking, and I was envying him because he had a lot of money, and it was passive in many ways because once you buy the place, it sort of works on itself. And he was very envious of me because I had all the time, right? And I think it takes a lot of time to get to that point where you can just be, free. And I think we need both of those. But the point of that story is just that the grass is always greener on the other side, and it's so easy to sit and, who here compares themselves to their friends who've got regular jobs with like a great income, and it's like, fuck, that guy just got 6K this month, he's getting 6K next month, he's getting 6K after that, and I'm like hustling and I'm still struggling. You guys got to stop doing that. It's just the only thing that can come out of that is like you'll psych yourself out and stop working on your business because you're like, oh, this is so much more comfortable. But there. A lot of people here are still in day jobs, and I had a day job for a long time. The salary curve for people in day job is usually like this, right? Very flat, but it goes up a little bit. And hopefully all the people in this room, we're gonna go like this. So you just gotta, I just really wanted to throw this in there because it's so important that you should know that everybody here probably does that at some point, compares themselves to other people, and you should know that you just gotta hang in there and keep going at it, and while you're envious of them, they're also envious of you. So just keep that in mind. I wanted to bring that up even though I forgot to mention it in the beginning. So anyway, let's get back to Automation Station. This is just a rule of thumb that I kind of came up with. You can play with it a little bit. But I want you to automate as much as possible. And you should automate any task that takes 15 minutes or more and is repeated on a bi-weekly basis and is easily automated. Because here's the thing. When you're automating a task, you're not saving yourself 15 minutes. Because you're probably going to automate 8 tasks, and you're going to save yourself 2 hours, 2 hours a week. And it's not just the time that you saved, right? It's now 8 more tasks that you don't have to, step away from one task in order to start another and do that mental shift. You're saving yourself a lot of time. You're saving yourself a lot of mental energy. And I think it's crucial. And it's something that I started doing more and more. And I'm going to show you guys a bit of like an example that we did that was just super easy to implement and how you guys can use that as well. So fuck all the theory stuff. Let's show you some real things that you can actually use in your business. So this is sort of what my business looks like. This is how I went on holiday for 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, and we still got clients. And I checked my email and I didn't have to do anything. And I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, but if you guys have questions about this later, we can do that. So we have an advertisement on Facebook, on Google AdWords. We send people to a sales page. That sales page answers all the questions. And at one point, do you guys know Hotjar? Hotjar is like a free service. You could post like a poll, on the side of your website. We put a little poll on it and said, is there a reason why you're not buying today? To gain some insight into, what are we missing here? And then it became very evident that we were missing this one key thing. So we threw that on the sales page as well. So the sales page is like automating your sales, right? Project manager contacts the client. And then I'm going to show you this fourth thing later, like specifically how to do that. An automatic referral email gets sent out that sort of attempts to get us another client. And then the project manager creates the video. So I've taught her the whole process, right? It takes a while, but she now can do that whole process. The video is delivered. Frequently asked questions, which I'm sure we all get. Most of our clients have the same worries, the same problems, the same questions. And why repeat yourself all the time? So that's automated, and the automatic follow-up, of course, as well. So do you guys know about Zapier? Who here knows about Zapier? Cool. So about half the room. Who here uses Zapier? Great. So for those of you who don't know it, as you can see, there's a list of apps here, like digital services. Zapier takes, let's take an example. Zapier takes Google Sheets in the top left over here, and I'm Zapier, and I'll take information, say an email address from Google Sheets. I'm Zapier, I'll take that and I'll spit it into MailChimp, for example, put them into an autoresponder. So it lets somebody who's not a programmer with like 0 programming skills automate the shit out of your business, because most of us are doing very, very digital things, right? Or sort of, that's the majority. This is Jay Abraham's 3 ways to grow your business. So the story behind this is that me and my business partner, Robin, we were like, we know that these are the 3 ways to grow your business. You can either get more customers, you can increase the revenue per transaction, or you can get your customers to come back more often and buy from you. So we just had one meeting for like an hour, and we just brainstormed each one of these. And we were like, is there anything that we can do for each one of these points that we can just automate that will attempt to give us more sales? This is a good one, by the way. Jay Abraham, I mean, it's pretty obvious, but it's so great to have this to sort of just look at and just brainstorm each point and come up with some ideas and see which ones you can implement. So this is Trello. Who uses Trello? Also about half the room, a bit less. Fucking awesome service. So this is for my video business. So on the left side, here's a list with people who have placed an order with us. And then once they filled out the brief, we take, it's called a card. We take that card and we put it into the completed brief list, which means that this client is now officially a client. We're going to make a video for them. We have everything we need. And what I've done here is, I use Zapier. So I put Trello over here, and I take the name of the card, which is the email address. And Zapier takes it and spits it into Active Campaign, which is our MailChimp. It's like an email autoresponder. So once you take the placed order card and you put it into the completed brief list, it automatically sends out an email to clients and says, thank you for being a customer. We're really pumped to work with you. We actually got a bit of an offer for you. If you refer a client for us, we'll give you $100 discount, and we'll also give $100 discount to your client. How long do you think that took us to do? Like 10 minutes. So you see how you could just do these small things, and it's not just like doing one of them. Like just brainstorm and come up with all these things you can do and look at how long it would take to automate them and just do it. Because actually, I even have an arrow here. The next thing is the video delivered. So at this point, the video is done. So I take their card and I put it into the video delivered list. And that does the same thing. Takes the email, sends it to our active campaign, another email list that automates automatic follow-up 4 weeks later. So 4 weeks after you got your video, an email gets sent out and says, hey, how are you liking your video? How's it going? Is there anything else we can help you with? And also, we try to get another sale. Remember number 3 of J. Abraham's thing? Get customers to come back more often. So you could find all these small things that you can automate so easily. And I wish I had some stats to show you, but it's so new that we haven't been able to even wait 4 weeks for the thing to send out. But I guarantee you, if we get one customer out of that, do you think 30 minutes of time was worth it? Fuck yeah. This is a short example. So when we delivered our videos previously, we would just be like, oh, here's draft number 5. How do you like it? And they'd be like, oh, looks good. And we're like, cool. Good to do business with you. Ciao. It's not a great way to end the relationship or end a project. So we're like, let's make it a bit of a presentation. So we made a membership site. So what happens here, when we're delivering your video, we make your own page. So you log in here. We come to the secret URL, give them a login. They log in. Their video's there. They can download a thumbnail to upload to YouTube. And on the right here, this is, I talked about how we've automated all the frequently asked questions. Because a lot of people are like, okay, how do I upload it to YouTube? So now we just, this is basically, it's like a blog kind of. So here's a how-to guide on how to upload your video to YouTube. And we just saved ourselves 10 minutes. But again, we didn't just save ourselves 10 minutes. We saved ourselves 10 minutes per client who asked this question. And that's 10 minutes here and then 10 minutes there. And it just really adds up. So what I basically want to end up with is I want to ask you guys to just think about, you don't even have to tell me, but think about your business in this way. Think about how you can take small tasks and automate them, especially the ones that are on repeat, and increase your sales and free up more time. And Chris really talked about hiring yesterday, so I don't really need to go into that too much. The one thing I will say about making the one great hire is that give them a test. Don't just hire them right away. There's no need to hire them right away. You can start very small. Tucker Max talked about starting small yesterday, right? Just hire them for an hour, right? Then hire them for 2 hours, and then hire them for 3. Because I know it's scary to be like, I'm going to make one great hire for $25 an hour, and you're thinking, okay, how am I going to pay somebody like 50 grand a year? I can't do that. But that's the wrong way to think about it, right? You start small, pay them per hour, and that's how you also find out whether they're good or bad. And that's when you can make the decision to hire them or not, more. So yeah, that's really all I got. So thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for being sober enough. And I think we got about 5 minutes left, right? Should we do some Q&A? Let's do that. So did we want to do let's do this. Can we get one mic runner in each aisle? And then everybody could just line up here if you want to ask a question. I think it's much easier than running back and forth. So if you want to ask a question, just go stand in the aisles right now. Okay, everyone's drunk still.
And hey guys, just a quick note. If you do have a question, just make sure you write it down for clarity purposes.
Yeah.
So-
For now, Hirsch, you can go ahead and ask it, and I'll repeat it for the camera.
Yes, sweet. So first of all, absolutely amazing speech.
Thanks.
Your
So your video project manager,
Yeah.
did he have experience in managing animated video projects before you hired him, or did you kind of teach him?
Zero.
So you taught him how to basically like talk to the animators, talk to the scriptwriters, blah blah blah.
Yes, everything. And that's why it's so good to start small, right? So when I hired her, I had no intention of like putting her in charge of that whole thing. Like I wasn't even thinking that far ahead. I hired her to be like, you know, why don't you do this one thing, like talk to the script writers or whatever it was, I don't remember. It was one small thing, and then, you know, that's how you start everything. You start small, and then you're like, okay, well now she knows this. So I remember like after, you know, I probably had her on for like 8 months until we had that sit down, and we were like, well, why am I still involved? Like all we're doing now is sort of like, you know, 2 people doing the one thing that only requires one person. So started very small.
So I guess like obviously it makes sense because, you know, before you started doing animated videos, you had no idea how to put together an animated video project. right?
Exactly, yeah.
So you can, using that same mentality, you can obviously teach someone else how to do it. How did you sort of find the patience and I guess not get like really frustrated and pissed off that it was taking like a long time to do it? Because you know one of my biggest problems is like I'll try out like a virtual assistant for like, you know, 1 or 2 months.
Yeah.
It's going well, then there's like a certain few things that just can't work out over and over and over again. I'm just like, fuck it, on to the next one kind of thing.
Okay. Now, what are those sort of crucial things that you find out pretty quickly that like they just can't do these or?
I think the biggest thing is like, because I guess, I mean, my business is like website design, development, and SEO.
Yeah.
It's more of like the I guess the creative eye kind of thing. Then obviously what Tucker was saying yesterday about you can't really outsource innovation or like initiative or anything like that.
Right. And this is also what I remember how I said, don't get a $3 Filipino, you know, that's in there because again, I'm not bashing on those people at all because they're very good at what they do. But I think you have 2 very different kinds of people with thinking. Either the ones that can really like follow instructions and like they might be better than that, better at that than somebody else. And then you have the other people that, you know, they can be creative and then they can get a problem and actually figure it out on their own without me having to tell them. So I would challenge you to, for this key role, be willing to pay a bit more and watch what happens.
So is she local or is she overseas?
She's local in Sweden, and that's why I had to pay more money. You know, she speaks the language, and so yeah, I was kind of forced into it. I'm like, I need somebody who can, you know, speak the language. I had to pay more money, and I was like, she's actually a lot better. It's actually worth the money that you pay extra. So in your case, I would pay a bit more and see if you have the same problem. I doubt you will.
Perfect, thanks.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Thanks for the speech. Really great. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
I have a question about, so right now I tried automating everything. The last part is the quality managing.
Yes.
So how did you get that last step down? Because I can't figure that part out.
Yeah.
And the second question I have is, most of your sales I know come from the SEO because your website is highly ranked. What's your second like highest in? Like,
Great.
Does your because you said that your assistant does the sales as well. How? Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Facebook ads?
Yes, sorry about that confusion. She doesn't do sales. The sales page sort of does it. The sales is automated in the sense that we have ads to the sales page, and the sales page sort of does it.
Facebook ads.
The second one would be like Google AdWords, so it's paid, but it's also on Google. And the third would be Facebook ads. Yeah. And the first question was about quality, right? That's a difficult one. And I find that, you know, either they got it or they don't. They have the potential to either get it, and that's when you know, okay, this is somebody I got to keep and I got to train them in the way they think. And then the other kind of person, you should know pretty quickly that this is never going to work out. Now, if you have a person that has the potential to be good, I find that you need to challenge, you know, it's very easy to be like, I'm doing my best. And you need, as the boss, you need to be the one that's asking them, you know, is this actually the best version of you? Is this the best that you could do? Are you proud of this? And if it's a person that's going to be like, you know, massive ego, can't deal with it, that is one of those people that's never going to get it. So I find that instead of lecturing, it's about educating. So be like, you know, look at this frame, look at this 2-second clip. what do you think is wrong with this? Like, why do you think that I'm not okay with this clip, and why are you okay with it? And like educating them. And you could be like, well, you see how there's actually like two pixels in the bottom that are blurry, and to me that's not okay. And then you've educated them in a way that's not like bashing their ego, but you've said that, you know, you're sort of educating them on what to look for, what to look out for. And I would say that's the best way to go. And you're sort of asking them to step up their own game so that they're proud of the work as well. Because they're, you know, make them responsible for it.
Isn't it hard to find in freelancers? Because most of the people that are that quality want a steady job.
That's not true, but it's exactly the same as I just spoke to Hirsch about. You know, if you pay a little bit more, I guarantee you'll have less of that quality problem, like where they have the lack of, you know, quality assurance or whatever. So we think that it's more expensive to hire somebody who's more expensive. Who here has made a bad hire, had to go back, you know, fire them, had to go back and then go hire another person? Which was more expensive? Hiring the low price person, right? So, Joe?
Yo. So you talked about how your personal assistant is about $25 to $30 an hour. Are you actually tracking their hours of work and paying them that way, or are they actually salary?
So she tracks it. The way we do it, she doesn't have her own company. So the way we have to do it is there's a service in Sweden where you can, as just a normal person, you can invoice people as a company. So this company will invoice for you. They'll take a small cut, and they have like an hour tracking thing. She uses that, and it's funny. I trust people too much. I've never gone through her statements. I look at the price, and I'm like, you know what? That seems reasonable, and I pay it. So that's how we've been tracking that. I don't sort of, follow her every step and like see how much it works. Like I just let her do it, and I trust her.
So what made you? It's just you naturally just trusted her, because like that's like the biggest paradigm shift that I always feel like, oh, someone's just gonna take longer if they're paying them.
You know, I think naturally I just trust people, and I spoke to Tim yesterday as well, and Tim was we were talking about how. If you put somebody that knows your whole system, and I know Matt's talked about this as well, where if you have a person in your company that knows the whole system, they could just take off and do their own thing, right? And like, I actually just don't worry about it. It's probably not a good thing in the long end. I can't teach that. It's just the way I am. I trust people. Yeah. Sorry for the lack of concrete advice. Next up.
So you've kind of reached a big milestone in your business, right? Being able to automate it to this point, right?
Yes.
So what do you see as your next steps, right? How are you going to grow your company to that next step change level?
Yeah. So as Chuck mentioned, I'm basically going from running only a video business to running a digital agency. So, Tim has talked about his client that, does the race car tours. I want to do more stuff like that, getting to work with really cool companies. And the fact is, like, me and my business partner, we know a shitload about digital marketing, and we're sitting there only making videos when we have this other expertise that a lot of companies do not have. So we're going to keep that, and the idea is sort of to start the next thing, which is already a proven business. It's not like some new thing, and that's sort of how we're going to grow our revenue and grow the company.
So how do you, Chris talked a lot about the hiring funnels and hiring, technical talent and
Yep.
kind of automating the kind of grunt work in your business. But as your business grows and you take it to the next level, how do you go about finding a different level of talent that can do more economic thinking and think terms of a principled entrepreneur, as opposed to just following a task list?
I would just replicate what I did with Maria, and I actually made a sales page, and it was like a job ad, and then I actually ran Facebook ads too there. I put a Google form, application form, they filled it out, and I just really interviewed the hell out of them. I didn't stop. Like, I thought I had the girl, and I was like, you know what, let's do one more interview with these two candidates, and I ended up going with the person that I wasn't going to go with first because something came up in that last interview. So I would just replicate what I did the first time. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
How are you doing on time? We got to cut it short?
Yeah, if you have any more questions during the Q&A, Bobby will be back out here.
Absolutely. Just find me in the back of the room as well.
There you go.